Good evening, viewers. We have Major General Sudhakar Jee with us. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Meena. It's a great delight actually connecting after a gap of a couple of days. And I hope you're doing fine and your platform is doing flourishing, I would say, going by the inputs I'm getting from the environment. Wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much. So, sir, we'll start with the first piece of news, and that is we are talking about Hamas's ideological influence, which seems to be growing in South Asia, especially in Pakistan. The Pahalgam attack earlier this year showed chilling similarities to the 2023 Hamas massacre in Israel. Now, investigators say this module was preparing drone bombs with cameras, rocket style explosives, coordinated multi city attacks. The plan was to replicate Hamas's drone warfare strategy within India. So, this is what was the plan, Major General. So, your views on that?
Yeah, Meena, I at the outset, I would like to uh, advise exercising caution on all such kind of inputs coming. But at the same time, I would advise the stakeholders to remain prepared because this is something which was in the offing. It was coming. It was coming. And your central point of the question which you have raised is basically the Hamas, influence of Hamas spreading. Now, what is Hamas? Who's Hamas? Hamas, I always put them under the heading of octopus doctrine. The octopus doctrine, the head of the octopus is Iran, and the tentacles, one tentacle is headed by Houthis in Yemen, second tentacle is headed by Hamas, the same Hamas where the global body together has not been able to brand them or call them as a terrorist organization, the same Hamas which enjoys the political authority as a political party. They were elected to power, if you recall, way back in 2006. The same Hamas is still ruling. The same Hamas is still ruling the Palestinian component of Israel today from 2007 onwards till now. And the same Hamas, although it has got a militant wing, the fact of the matter is that the kind of capability, military capability, it demonstrated on 7th October 2023 as a non-state actor is actually mind-boggling because no non-state actor in the world today, the conventional powers, including superpower, America or China or Russia or any other country, nobody has demonstrated this capability of blacking out the electromagnetic spectrum for 30 minutes, close to 30 minutes. And during those 30 minutes, you launch multi-domain operations. It has never happened in this manner. Conventionally, it happens in a different manner, but for a non-state actor to orchestrate a kind of activity like this is unheard of, uncalled for. And we have the third one is called as Hezbollah. The fourth one is called as Habib al Said, or some matching name. I maybe it is all Arabic, so my pronunciation may be slightly different. So do forgive me. These are the four tentacles. There are many more smaller and bigger tentacles which are not into prominence there in form of militias. Okay, so some of them are in Iraq, some of them there in Palestine, in West Bank itself, some of them are operating in Syria, some of them are in uh, places like Jordan. So likewise, but four primary tentacles are these, and out of these, the most vitiated one happens to be Hamas, and Hamas spreading its wing, coming to Pakistan is something very disturbing and uncalled for. They have also shown the presence in Pakistan, occupied Jammu Kashmir couple of months back, and their deputy, some deputy leader was there in Jammu and Kashmir. Whatever outlines you have actually indicated, pointed out, I would still ring a alarm bell that they have come in a big way. They are collaborating with multiple terrorist organizations and particularly with, I would say, mm, what do you call Jasha Muhammad and Lashkar-e-Toiba. How far true it is, I really can't say until we have evidence in our hand. But this is all from the open source. There is a great danger that similar kind of offensive, the way they orchestrated at Pahalgam, this was done under the guidance and training module led by Hamas. So we have to wait for solid evidence to come on this. And going by joining the dots that you have done, I must compliment you. It is all absolutely substantiated as of now, but we need to give time, the investigation a little more time to come out with total clarity, and then we India has to take a final call. As on today, we are still considering Hamas as a political party. While
It's
on
very strange. Yeah.
one hand we say we do not accept terrorism in any form. The other hand, we do not denounce the Palestinian. Samaj are nothing. They are part and component of the Palestinian group. They are demanding for a two-nation theory. Question why they attacked is a different issue. But the way they attacked is the main issue in 21st century. Is that the way that you communicate? If at all it has to be put under the heading of communication. You don't. In 21st century, diplomacy and dialogue should be the norm. But there are fine lines which, if time permits, maybe in the subsequent podcast, we'll sit down and deliberate. Why did Hamas behave the way they did? What forced them? Was it too much of Israelis? What was their demand? You see, I'm just back from an international mega event in Chandigarh, Chandigarh Military Literature Festival. They had selected me to participate in this very debate about Hamas and the Israeli war, which is ongoing. The two ambassadors, very distinguished and very, I would say, accomplished ambassadors of India, who have had the distinction of serving in Israel for long years. Maybe one of them was 11 or 12 years. One has dealt with elements like Hamas. So it's a different history and perspective. If time allows, we'll come back and address it separately. But suffice to say, it's a long game.
Yeah.
It's not going to find quick solutions or answers, despite the 20-point proposal which Donald Trump has given. But your question is, isn't it an alarm bell for India? Yes, it
Yeah.
is. What should India
Oh,
do? India should prepare that in a manner so that the second Pahalgam number two doesn't take place. So, how do you prevent it? We need to have our eyes and ears open on the soil where they are preparing. Where are they preparing? Today only I have just finished a podcast with one of the podcasters, YouTubers, wherein the Jasha Muhammad, instead of the news that we heard, you also must have got the news, moved Jasha Muhammad, whose headquarters was at Bahabalpur, and Lashkar-e-Toiba at Muridke. They have shifted their headquarters, logistic bases, training centers close to Duran line. And after having reached the Duran line, there was some kind of a infighting between Tehrik Taliban Pakistan because it is their area, Pashtun area. So Pashtuns don't like outsiders coming and making camps in their zone. So they have disallowed. So there was some kind of a friction, something, some fighting actually broke out between these groups. ISI was trying to resolve the issue. How far true it is, I really can't comment. I don't have any reliable input with me. But today, I've just finished a podcast. The same Jasha Muhammad, uh, whose origin is related to JKLF, way back in late 80s and 90s, JKLF, Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front. And they started a homegrown terrorism supported by the foreign terrorists, and they have shifted to line of control being 740 kilometers between India and Pakistan, and predominantly Jaish-e Mohammed, they operate opposite the area of Baramulla and Kupawada. So out of 740 kilometers, you can say roughly around 90 to 100 kilometers. How do they operate? They operate from the Pakistani military camps or the bases or the post. Every military post has got a safe house or the launch pad. These launch pads are in the proximity of a village, so that they don't stand out. They merge with the civil population. And from the launch pad, they are taken to a staging point, which is a couple of kilometers ahead, close to the line of control towards India side, by a guide.
Yeah.
And that guide from the staging point takes all these people across the line of control to come into Jammu and Kashmir area. This time there is a new dimension that Jaish Muhammad has got a component which is got the basic fundamental constituents are the women. There is a women wing which has come up. As per the latest figure I have got, there are 1400 women, because women, their simplicity and their innocence and lack of suspicion they present is being taken advantage of, is being exploited, and they are the ones who will come into Jammu and Kashmir. From Jammu and Kashmir, the
Yeah.
Delhi blast has indicated that terrorism module has shifted its main headquarters or center of gravity from Jammu and Kashmir to National Capital Region and elsewhere, pan India. Maybe your Saharanpur, maybe Lucknow, maybe Kanpur, maybe Allahabad, or maybe Ahmedabad, and such like places. So it is fanning out from biological warfare to the white collar, the terrorism
Mm.
which we are witnessing. It may manifest in different form. I have given out my quotations and statements in a couple of leading newspapers, which I think I shared with you. Some people, I don't know how this in short is formed. So they made 60 words of my quotations in short, basically warning our countrymen that we all need to be collectively and individually be alert. Danger is lurking everywhere. This is not the time to speak nonsense. People in responsible political hierarchy should exercise maturity and responsibility when it comes to deal with national security. It's a threat against the mankind, the people of India. The people of India doesn't have distinction like Hindus, Muslims, Christians. We all are together. We all are Indians. Country comes first. That is the appeal I wish to make. So what does India do? India needs to look beyond the boundary, have its surveillance mechanism, have its intelligence work so done proactively so as to pick up the signature of these kind of contemplated plans to be orchestrated in India in future and take preventive measure. I have strongly recommended to people who matter that time has come wherein we need to strike them on the soil from where they are launching their attacks against the Indians. Not
Yeah.
wait for them to come to Pahalgam and attack us. For that, our military capability has to take a quantum jump. Our capability of intelligence gathering has to take a jump. We need to penetrate into their society and get into the head or the family, the way of life as to what they're thinking to do ahead. Only then we can actually nip the bud when it is in the early stages.
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, we are now moving into another form of terrorism, white collar terrorism. And, Jawad Ahmed Siddiqui, chairman chancellor of Al Falah University, is now in the custody of the ED. He is the founder of the Al Falah Group, which the agency says has witnessed a meteoric rise since the 1990s, transforming into a major educational institution. A Delhi court sent Mr. Siddiqui to ED custody for 13 days on Wednesday. Now I wonder, there's so many years of experience that they say they started from 1990s. So what were they teaching? Were they teaching medicine or were they teaching terrorism? Is now the question.
Excellent, Meena. You picked up a theme for which it will be difficult to give very quick answers, but I appreciate that the question which you have framed is a very relevant one. And from 1990 till 2025, it is 35 years now. What were they teaching? That is the question. And besides, also, I have another thing in my mind. You see, there are a couple of very accomplished universities and education centers of excellence where the name and reputation, the alumni reputation is so high that people don't ask questions. I think the time has come where we need to ask questions. There are many of them in Delhi itself, very premier institutions. So When you ask a question regarding what were they doing from 90 till 2025, well, firstly, is our system foolproof? They have got the clearance from UGC, and what are the means and methods of UGC to scrutinize the veracity or the nobility of an establishment with academic objectives? Okay, with the objective of saving the mankind from a disaster, from health problems, or giving medical treatment. They are meant to save lives, but instead of saving life, they have been made to participate into such kind of an architecture or activity which they are penetrating into a way of life to kill us, and that too bioterrorism. Resin is a component which is more poisonous than that of cyanide. And more so, I was giving another international podcast. Somebody asked me a question. You see, when resin is used to be more effective, if you use it by aerosol method, by aerial platform,
Yeah,
and by liquid, if you mix it up, and if you spread in a city like Delhi, if there are 2 crores people, 500,000 will die within 5 to 6 hours. That is the potential threat, and it has been, I believe, the module has got connections in Andhra, connections in Gujarat. So, it is spread out all over. So, there are three such modules which have come into prominence. One is this, the other one was in Pune, where a module was busted and they found civil engineers, majority was civil engineers. There happens to be also one or two doctors. There is another module which is being talked about, exact location I don't know, maybe 2024 or 23. There are large number of civilian engineers. They were caught somewhere in Assam. So that is the kind. And the last one, 2022, almost about 12,000. People said 12,000, but somebody corrected me, not 12,000, 22 or 28. So I said, but where there is smoke, there is fire. Where there is fire, there has to be smoke. 22 can become 22,000 as well. So that means it has happened. 12,000 people who are qualified graduates, IT graduates from that corridor, triangular, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Kerala in the year 2022 or 23, they migrated from there under some guide. They went to Siliguri corridor, Karimganj, Murshidabad, Malda, Karimganj, that kind of belt. Jamaiti Islam or Mujahideen, they took over the charge under some leadership in a stage managed manner. They were migrated to the epicenter of terrorism, Pakistan Afghanistan corridor. They underwent training there. After having completed the training, they all have been distributed to different kinds of militant groups. You have Al Qaeda, you have Haqqani, you have Jaish Muhammad, you have Lashkar e Toiba, you have ISIS. Name a thing. Now, the new name which is cropped up is Hamas. Is Hamas coming into the subcontinent? Now, to answer all these things, I would say there are three spheres of influence which are expanding by the day. The first sphere is, so far, China was expanding its authoritarianism or strategic encirclement around India because it is a rising power. Second, there is also a late realization in USA. It's good that they have bounced back, but for some time they gave feelings and impression to the environment that they are done. They would like to fall back to the country and consolidate and take stock and stabilize the domestic constituency of homeland security. But I'm glad that they have realized they have a role and responsibility. They have realized that no superpower would like to lose its supremacy and authority ever. If they do that, then they are also going to be treated as a third world country very soon. So they are trying to come back, restore status quo ante, whether it is Middle East or Pakistan or say Bangladesh or Southeast Asia or East Asia. They all are getting back with a kind of a renewed vigor and basically to push back the China. Pushback. China has made very deep inroads in all these places that I mentioned in terms of money under the name of BRI project or over project, and they have spent lots of money. They have taken commitment. They have put the countries into debt trap philosophy. So therefore, America is doing well. And the third and most important thing is the Islamic radicalized Islamic fundamentalism. It's spreading, maybe under leadership of Turkey and Qatar, or maybe under the because of the contestation taking place for Umar's leadership between Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. Each one of them is trying to show its head of supremacy, that they are the head of amongst the Islamic Republic. So, under these circumstances, I personally feel that Turkey has got an important role. Turkey's presence in Indian subcontinent is increasing. Turkey's presence in Bangladesh is increasing. It has got an important role to play. Maybe under the leadership recently in Operation Sindoor, we saw how Turkey, how deeply it was involved in supporting Pakistan. So as Azerbaijan. So under these circumstances, it may be a kind of a compelling narrative building taking place under some countries' leadership, where Hamas' presence is also being desired to be shown, to be demonstrated in places around India. So, therefore, we would do well um, if we adopt a short, medium, and long term strategy to counter it. How do you counter it? I personally feel that engagement is better than disengagement. We need to remain engaged, whether it is a terrorist organization or a military rule or whatever. We remain to continue to remain engaged from our Ministry of External Affairs, or maybe a special outfit which remains in touch with Hamas, negotiates with them, and prevents such kind of attack and offensive actions against our innocent Indian citizens in future.
So moving from Pakistan and Hamas to Bangladesh now. Now, Mohammad Yunus's interim administration is preparing to seek Interpol's assistance to get ousted PM Sheikh Hasina and former Home Minister Khan Kamal extradited from India. This comes after the two were handed death sentences by the International Crimes Tribunal. What do you make of this, Major General?
My first take on the whole issue is that the status of the International Criminal Tribunal. People need to understand, in fact, Bangladesh itself will do well if they understand the status. What is the status of the International Tribunal, Criminal Tribunal? International Criminal Tribunal, to the best of my knowledge and understanding, was came into existence in Bangladesh. It's a local, it's a national establishment, and it came into existence in 1973 Act. There is an act, and this was revived in 2010 by Sheikh Hasina, primarily with one singular mandate. What was the mandate? The mandate was to try and give justice to those conspirators, try them judicially. Um, the Bangladeshi conspirators, collaborators, and the Pakistani criminals who were responsible for the genocide that resulted in killing of over 3 million. If I'm not wrong, it was 30 million. At places you find 40 to 60 million, but 30 is the bottom line. 3 million people, they died, they were killed, and 250,000 women and girl children, they were raped. This is on record. So, primary aim, the demand of the citizens of Bangladesh, right since its birth, 1971, has been that these people, these collaborators, these criminals must be taken to task. And what better than a kind of a international tribunal, the criminal tribunal? So this was the primary mandate. If this was the primary mandate, is this legal establishment, which was made for one purpose, tenable to exercise its judiciary mandate for awarding death penalty and life imprisonment against the prime minister of a country who's elected by the people, for the people, and of the people? It is an epitome of Islamic world, a progressive kind of a democracy in Islamic world. And the lady has stood it had actually weathered the storm for 15 long years. And I would say there is no better friend than Sheikh Hasina as far as India's national interests are concerned. Also, we need to look at a couple of other issues. The next issue that comes to my mind is that whenever any accused is tried in the court of law, except for Sharia law, in any rules based international order democracy, whenever the accused is supposed to be provided with cross examination facility. I don't think you yourself, you are a senior journalist, you know it, unless the cross examination has been afforded to the accused, you cannot hold her, impose a penalty as that penalty. So that provision of cross examination should have been there. And the neutrality of the appointees, the judges, the advocates who are supposed to man the forum, as soon as this gentleman had come as the leader of interim government, as per the open sources I am reading and my research also is indicating, all the judges, they had been replaced by the judges who are known to him, affiliated to him, and they were related to him. So, under these circumstances, the neutrality and bipartisan or a political status of the judges, the constitution of the court, cross examination opportunity not being afforded, the status of the court. Firstly, the court, whose Yunus, what is his uh, uh, status? Has he been elected by the people and for the people and of the people? Who's he to activate or change the mandate? When you change the mandate of International Criminal Tribunal, it can be changed only in a parliament. There is no parliament in Bangladesh. Who's going to change it? It is supposed to be ratified. So, if it has not been ratified, how has the mandate for International Criminal Tribunal, which came into existence in 2010, to try the Pakistani criminals and the Bangladeshi collaborators for killing of 3 million people or more and raping 250,000 women and children, how has he gone in independently and arbitrarily to change the mandate to try Sheikh Hasina, who the elected representative? And last point that comes to my mind is in absence of a truly elected leader in Bangladesh, I personally feel legally, technically, and I would say mm, going by the judiciary applicable provisions, Sheikh Hasina continues to be the prime minister of Bangladesh. She's not yet been replaced or substituted by anybody by democratic process of election. So therefore, under these circumstances, extradition of Sheikh Hasina is out of question. India should not extradite her. Number two, instead of extraditing, we need to engage with Yunus. Number three, we must show our cards. I think enough of soft peddling has taken place. As far as Bangladesh, it is not to be treated as a backyard. It is de facto a backyard. It is so close, so proximal to our uh, territorial sovereignty or the boundaries, and there is interlinkages of culture, language, food habit, living style, so much religion, that it can hardly be called as a backyard. I would say the time has come. I'm sorry, I may be sounding aggressive as a military man, and given the sensitivity of Siliguri corridor, that 22-kilometer width of Siliguri corridor is worrying me. The time has come. If Bangladesh doesn't behave, we need to tell it, here is a red line, man. It is not a backyard. It is part and parcel of India. India needs to, you see, I am not trying to draw parallel, Mina. Please don't misunderstand me. We are not like Russia or like Putin. But Putin has not done anything wrong. It is done to safeguard the security of and territorial integrity and sovereignty of Russia by going in for Georgia, there are two pockets in Georgia. By going in, annexing Crimea, by capturing 20% land of Ukraine. Why has Russia done this in 21st century? If you push too much against a country, we'll be left with no option but to go in for these kind of things. So therefore, the time has come wherein India has to give a revisit, relook to the concept of immediate neighborhood, and maybe we'll do good by taking them under our wings, by going in for division of these areas, redrawing the boundaries from what it was during undivided British India Empire. We have not actually earned the rightful peace and harmony that we have been looking for, the progressive society, the kind of this thing that we have been looking for. And everything was going hunky dory, but suddenly things seem to be totally changed. And this is as far as Sheikh Hasina's extradition is concerned. One point I may miss out because the last question, willy nilly, you are giving an indication. What should India do? India should carry out identification of these kind of colleges, Alfala colleges. There are many such kind of things in Kishanganj, in Karimganj, in Secunderabad or some Hyderabad, those kind of areas. We need to carry out a deep investigation, survey. There is a network existing and there is a caliphate. In your channel only, I have been saying the regional caliphates have come into existence. People may laugh it out, but it is existing in some form, making use of the sleeper cells provided by ISI to ISIS. People again laugh it out that ISIS is not there. Fine. It's just a matter of time. Couple of years from now, ISIS will start showing its ugly head. When I talk about ISIS in very important places, national and international events, people show me the pictures of ISIS. ISIS picture they show the present president of Syria. At one point in time, he has gone through his journey of growth, has gone through Al Qaeda, ISIS, and all this. And this man, his picture is shown with two heads. His heading showing the two severed heads of two human beings. That is the symbol of ISIS. I said, symbol of ISIS also can be lying dogo in silence and showing the ugly head suddenly out of the blue. India, all I want is my country should not be subjected to this kind of disastrous kind of thing. So Alphala is only a tip of the iceberg. Such kind of colleges are existing at number of places. We need to establish a network, identify them, bring education as part of the central education, close all the madrasas. Madrasas are not required in 21st century. Please stop this. Education should be brought from state subject to central subject, from concurrent place to central subject. Only then, because I take it that there has to be again a short or medium and long term solution to the problem. Education happens to be the center of providing solution to all these criticalities in our country. And along with that, believe you me, UCC has got a lot of depth and meaning. It must be implemented across the board, regardless of what opposition says. You take the political parties on board, talk to them once, talk to them twice, keep on talking to them until unless all the state, all the provinces, they agree that UCC has to be implemented in India in a time-bound manner. There can be only one law for one kind of people, for one kind of country. We cannot have different laws. Sooner we do it, better it is.
Yeah. So there's the question from Ned. He's saying, how do we widen the Siliguri corridor?
I am given to understand. Anyway, who is this asking, Mr.
Ned,
Narayan?
Ned. Yeah.
Okay, Ned. Widening of Siliguri corridor, I have often in multiple channels given the suggestion that if America could resolve its border issue with Mexico by buying huge chunks of land for $10 million some 100, 200 years back, okay, why can't India think of doing the same thing? It is 22 kilometers wide. It has got shoulders from three directions. One is southeast Nepal, Damak. Damak is a place where SEZD is coming up. 491 companies out of 491, 75% companies are owned by Chinese. 55 kilometers from this place, from Siliguri corridor. There is another place called Jamphuri Ridge of Bhutan, where PLA, after we stopped them in 2017 at Dokala, 9 kilometers east of that point, they have gone meandering through a village called Pagda. And they are almost in the shadow of Jampiri, they are waiting there. Why are they interested about Jampiri? Because Jampiri, as per military science, gives, enables the army or the soldiers to dominate a particular area by observation and fire. You can see through your naked eye, through optical devices, clear movement, logistic build-up, movement of armed forces, security apparatus through the corridor of 22 kilometers, and bring down effective artillery fire, effective missile fire also can be carried out. Drones can be launched from those kind of heights. And you have a place called Gelefu, Mindful City, which is between Bhutan and India. There is no need to start such kind of big mega project like Saudi Arabia is doing and bring in China's presence to dominate that sensitive corridor of Siliguri. It is just about 100 kilometers from Siliguri corridor, 55 kilometers from New Bogaigaon. It's around, I think, 242 kilometers to Guwahati. Likewise, so also Rangpahar, Lal Munirhat, Rangpur division of Bangladesh. If you see the map, you will find Brahmaputra comes and enters into Bangladesh little ahead of Dhubri. Dhubri is in Assam, lower Assam. Okay, after it enters, it is, I think, called as Padma, if I am not wrong. And after entering Bangladesh, thereafter goes and joins Meghna River, if I am not wrong. Thereafter, it goes flows into Bay of Bengal. Now, I'm saying the areas west of Brahmaputra towards India side, there is a kink pointing towards Siliguri corridor, which is called as Rangpur division, where the Lal Munir Hat, that airstrip is located. Why don't we negotiate with Bangladesh? Whether it is UNOS or no UNOS, it is an imperative. India has to take this chunk, buy this chunk of land, do land swapping. When you did land swapping in 2015 to settle the border with Bangladesh, why nobody raised this point? If even if it was not raised, it's about time that we take this chunk of land is approximately 80 kilometers. What is the direction? This is northwest to southeast, and almost about 65 kilometers northeast to southwest. So this is a huge chunk. Even if it can't be that much, at least take 10, remain out of field artillery range. So 20 kilometers by 20 kilometers is good enough. So you have 22, you take 20 kilometers of Bangladesh here, you take, if not 20, at least 5 to 10 kilometers from Nepal, you take another 5 to 10 kilometers of Bhutan, buy them off. We are already, our military is present there in Bhutan for so many donkey's years, and we are giving them the 5 year plan budget of how much, 4,560 crores or something equivalent, close to 5,000 crores every 5 years. We are giving this money for the growth, for the stability, for the sustainability, for progress of Bhutan. So why don't we make these high stakes and bargain with Bhutan and buy off these chunks, these shoulders? I call them three shoulders. The three shoulders should be bought off from these countries, or carry out land swapping, make sure that the army is present there, or our security apparatus is present, make it formidable, and widen this particular stretch of 22 kilometers to let's say around 80 to 100 kilometers wide, so that it is out of field artillery and medium artillery range. Otherwise, you will be coming under direct fire from weapon systems deployed at places like Lal Monirhat airstrip or Jampiri Ridge, or maybe Damak. We are talking of Damak is in the district called as Damak is in Pada district of Nepal. Mr. Oili's, the previous prime minister's constituency. I'm forgetting the exact name, I've forgotten, but it is very close to Siliguri. That is one way. The other way is we wait for the trigger. When Bangladesh gives you a trigger, let's not have the concept of backward, or let's not have the concept of an immediate neighbor. It's about time, and don't even apply the theory of QQQ. India is perhaps waiting for a quid pro quo and take those areas which are dominated by the Hindus, by Buddhists, by Chakmas, etc., and try and capture it as a quid pro quo option. No, I don't see there is any quick solutions other than taking entire Bangladesh under our domination. It doesn't. Our doctrine philosophy doesn't allow. We have never in the history of our independent India, never ever have we captured a piece of ground which belonged to other country and kept it under our occupation. We have never done it. But if the paradigm of security demands, then I think it is better to go in for a very drastic and harsh measure than to wait for things to come and make Bihar a kind of a Bangladesh and make West Bengal or a greater Bangladesh, or have that map of greater Bangladesh actually realizing and manifesting on the ground.
Yeah. So moving on to Russia, we're talking about, according to a senior Rosoboron export representative, Russia is proposing an initial supply of Su 57E fighters produced in Russia, followed by complete manufacture in India along with technology transfer. Officials say this goes far beyond assembly from imported kits. The Russian side claims it's willing to open the entire fifth generation ecosystem, which includes engines, sensors, stealth materials, avionics, and other classified systems. Your thoughts on that, Major General?
Without a second thought, the chief of the air staff has often come out in the media crying hoarse that HAL has not been able to provide and meet the deadlines, whether you talk about Tejas or you talk about AMCA or ARMCA. These are all fifth generation aircrafts, and there is a huge deficit in the Air Force today. And the way the security situation is unfolding, it is very difficult for our country. On one hand, we are saying we want to become a global power with 30 trillion US dollar economy by 2047, or 4.19 as on today we stand. The per capita is $2,800, and we are looking at a target of 14,000 to 20,000 US dollar per capita income of an individual. If that be the kind of priority, then we cannot afford to neglect our defense preparedness, at least as a stopgap measure till such time our HAL and the private agencies, they actually marshal the resources, and with passion and commitment they develop a fifth generation and sixth generation. I think as a stopgap measure, there is no harm to collaborate with Russia. There is no better option than Su-57 as far as my understanding is concerned in the present environment. You can't trust France. You cannot trust America at all. You cannot trust anybody else. Israel is committed and duty bound not to disclose anything about the F series of aircraft to anybody, live alone India. So, therefore, under the present circumstances, to make up the deficiency and be at a level and stage so that we can indigenously, in keeping with Make in India concept, produce these aircrafts to meet the emerging demands of the security environment.
So, moving on to Israel and Pakistan. Now, they seem to be appearing to steadily develop contacts of late publicly. The latest instance being a brief encounter between Israeli Tourism Director General Michael Izakov and Pakistan Prime Minister's advisor on tourism, Sardar Yasir Ilyas Khan, at the World Travel Market Fair in London. Should India be concerned?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We should look at everything with suspicion. Being an army man, we are taught, we are trained on three things: respect all, suspect all, and inspect all. So until you have done all the three, please do not go in for a bonhomie. When I say bonhomie, what it means is that Israel is a friend. We know it for sure. But every day, if there are changes like this taking place, it should bring in caution in our response metrics and engaging with Israel as well. So, while having said that, even Israel is also equally uncomfortable when Saudi Arabia has been promised 48 F-35s yesterday. I think in some deal, the Crown Prince is there in USA. He's been promised. So, it is actually causing a lot of imbalance. But our viewers would do well to understand the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture? Donald Trump is the man who had pushed the agenda in 2020 for Abraham Accord. Now, current impasse between the Hamas and Israel, to me, it appears that it is not leading anywhere close to a solution. It has facilitated or enabled exchange of prisoners and um, what do you call the hostages to some extent, but beyond that, the Hamas have not shown any indications to lay down their arms or disarm themselves. Until unless Hamas disarm, there is no way that you can go in for a peace deal. So how do you? Why aren't the Hamas disarming? They are suspicious of the fact that Israel and America they are playing a game. Number two, there is no in the 20-point peace proposal there is no indication to suggest that there is a two-nation theory which is going to be implemented. Number three, there is also a danger of what do you call the ceasefire violations taking place, the bombardment coming again. There is also an indication of Iran being attacked once again. So, under these circumstances, while the Hamas have been weakened, all the tentacles have been weakened, but they're not done and out. They're still alive. So because the dynamics in the Middle East is such that, notwithstanding what is happening in the recent past, we would have heard about a strategic mutual agreement between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. For what for? It is basically to reassure Saudi Arabia about the nuclear umbrella, because Israel, left alone, behaves like a misled child or errand, heretic child. It has to be kept under checks and balances in Middle East itself. And who's the enemy of Saudi Arabia? Iran, of course. Saudi Arabia has shown its clear indications to normalize relations with Israel. Who are the people in Abraham Accord who have already signed? There are four of them. One is the Bahrain, the second is UAE, the third is Sudan, and the fourth one is Morocco, if I'm not wrong. Long back in 1978 or 79, Egypt had accepted existence of Israel. Also, sometime back, if I respect my memory, I think it is 1994, after the Oslo's agreement was signed. Yasser Arafat and Rabin was the prime minister of Israel that time, who was murdered in 1994. I think in 1994, Jordan also accepted the existence of Israel. So now, if Saudi Arabia does, then perhaps this Abraham Accord will be a comprehensive, partially comprehensive. But if Pakistan does, because till now our understanding is Pakistan is dead against Israel. They do not accept Israel's existence on the soil of Middle East. But if these are the indications which you have just flagged and highlighted, they are happening under duress. Whether they will sustain after Donald Trump finishes his tenure, after the midterm election, whether he remains in power after midterm election, I really don't know the kind of be it Epstein file or other things that is happening. So it is anybody's guess. Under the circumstances, they are all working towards fulfillment or full realization of Abraham Accord coming into existence, so that Israel's flag starts flying in Saudi Arabia and Saudi Arabia's flag starts flying in Israel. Saudi Arabia being the contemporary leader of Arabic world, perhaps it will signify that all other countries, Arabic countries, have shown their hands to normalize relations with Israel. That perhaps would be an one point indication. I heard Crown Prince yesterday in one of the interviews saying that they're accepting everything, provided two nation theory for Palestinians is catered for. So at the moment, I can't say with conviction that two nation theory is forming an inherent and integral part of the 20-point peace proposal mooted by Donald Trump. If it is there, I think they're moving ahead in a progressive and trustful manner. Otherwise, I feel India should be very, very cautious, very, very wary of Pakistan and Israel warming up. It is happening under the duress of USA, and USA perhaps is doing with bigger aim to keep India under checks and balance. And notwithstanding the positive signals one is getting to hear from the media that our trade talks are moving in a very productive manner, and all other, we have also promised to buy some javelin missiles and other things. We have also indicated to buy LPG gas. Never in the history of India have we ever bought LPG gas from such a far off land. Always India has bought LPG gas from Middle East. Look at the distance that is to be covered. Look at the extra price that we'll be paying. If all these are meant to appease or satisfy Donald Trump, well, then we have to keep our fingers crossed and be aware that big challenges may emerge out of all this, and India may come under pressure to navigate the complexities in times ahead.
One small candid question before we end the show, Major General, and that's you had mentioned the Epstein files. Now, Donald Trump has sanctioned the revelation of these files. Is it going to trap himself? Is he going to trap himself in that? And will he, soon have to quit?
Say, going by the open sources which have revealed, because it is same Donald Trump during his election campaigning 2.0, he kept on assuring people that he will definitely publicize, disclose the Epstein. But after he came back to the power in 2.0, he has been somehow taking a back step, despite all pressure from all sides. So, and also his name cropped up couple of times that he is known to this
The
character.
Epstein.
Also, many other things which generally a public leader of his stature should not be indulging in. So let's wait and see how it is going to be a very complex case. And going by the indications, his name is there. That is all I can. I hope and pray. I'm a great admirer of Donald Trump. Less for the 7 months, 9 months, or 9.5 or 10 months. I
Yeah,
quite like the way he
yeah,
fought through,
yes,
despite all
absolutely.
assassination attempt. He's like a soldier.
Yes,
He's braved it out, and his concept is very good. Unfortunately, he's not been able to implement. The deep state is not allowing to implement his ideas. No president in America has ever been able to implement his original ideas that they came with to power as president of America. No
yeah,
president, he is no exception. So, therefore, my fear is that if he pushes the agenda in the Middle East or in Central Europe too much, maybe he's going to subject his life into huge danger. Now, you
yeah,
asked regarding the Epstein. I hope and pray that he is not involved in this project,
yeah,
because that would actually will be a very, very mind blowing blow to the global peace and harmony. The
yeah,
geopolitical
absolutely.
churn is going through another turbulent phase. Who next? Who's after Donald Trump? You tell me. Is Kamala Harris capable enough to rule or govern? Does she know what the world order and the geopolitics is? Is JD Vance capable enough? Is he old enough to use his maturity and responsibility? So therefore, but I am actually holding myself back and hope and pray for the sake of global safety, stability. Let this man continue.
Yeah,
There is a old saying: "A known devil is better than an unknown angel." So I extend that philosophy or that adage out here, that perhaps a known devil like Donald Trump, despite his unpredictable behavior, yet he's still predictable. We know
yeah,
that he will be unpredictable.
yeah,
Okay, so despite all that, I think you see there are four provinces or three provinces where the Democrats have come back to power. So that itself is a good jhatka to Donald Trump. Three: Virginia, New Jersey, Columbia. I think four provinces have Democrats have come back to power. So the Republicans are scared. Ki if this is the rate, you please mellow down your tariff, mellow down everything. So therefore, I think the checks and balances are there. There is a case already being considered very actively in the Supreme Court about the tariff. Whether he, as president, does he have the mandate to impose tariff on countries in the world in this manner? Because the bottom line acceptable percentage, if I respect my memory, is 3%. Anything more than 3%, one has to go as per the 1977 congressional rule. The Congress has to give the mandate and give the ratified power. But whether Donald Trump is capable, is he entitled to exercising this mandate or not? Let's wait and watch. November day is not very far. The Supreme Court should be coming out with a verdict. If that verdict goes against Donald Trump, then I think it will be, he will be pushing the agenda. He may commit something untoward. One never knows. And I don't want that thing to actually happen and go through your channel. Yours is a very respectable and very outstanding channel. We want stability. We want geopolitical normalcy in the world. We want India to progress ahead. We want India not to allow a second Pahalgam to take place anywhere in our country.
absolutely.
Take all kinds of preventive measures, and also take very strident measures, long term, short term, and medium term, Factor in the UCC, factor in the centralizing education, stop this drama of madrasa education. Same education, scientific education should be imparted in all government establishments. I think 21st century is ringing a different bell of progress and development for the entire nation of India. Looking ahead for 30 trillion US dollar per capita income jumping from 2800 the current status to 14,000 to 20,000 dollar US dollar in times ahead. For that, all of us have a role and responsibility. I urge every countryman through you, through your channel, let's put our best foot forward collectively together. And I'm sure India is destined to rise as not only third, sooner or later by 2038, will be overtaking USA as far as the economic GDP is concerned in PPP terms. This is what the forecast of the economic specialists and the domain experts have indicated.
Yeah. So usually viewers, we decide on a half-hour slot, but when Major General starts speaking, I mean, he makes such explosive statements that it just goes on for an hour, and still people are interested in hearing more. Thank you so much, Major General. Very interesting chat, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Meena. All the very best. I'm sorry I exceeded the time. You
No,
had
not at all. Very interesting.
more than two questions. So each one has to be done. Just I'll try my best to be objective and precise next time onwards. I'm also a human being, and I'll
No,
try to.
do not curtail yourself. It's very interesting, and that's what I meant. It's very interesting. Thank you so much. Jai
Thank you.
Hind, Jai
Yeah.
Shri.
Thank you so much.